Hi, welcome. Thank you for taking your time to come here to our very first Chippewa County Commission candidate debate. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization, which means we do not support or oppose candidates or parties. And so this is I feel that the League of Women Voters is a perfect group to host these kind of candidate debates, because we're here, we put this on as volunteers for the public. We want our public, our community, to be well informed of the issues, and we encourage everyone to come to the polls. Before we get into it, I also want to mention that we have this really great program that we're putting online within just a couple of days. It's called voteforum1.org. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you, jot that down. We've actually asked all of the county commission candidates to put in there, we put the questions on and they come up with the answers. And we give them a certain amount of characters, I think it's like 235 or so. And we ask them all the exact same questions. They submit those answers, and then you get to read, and you can compare the candidates. And some of them will put pictures if they have it, so you can see who it is. And but it's a really great resource that you can look from now until the primary election as voter information. So with that, I don't think there's anything else. If you're interested in joining the League of Women Voters, we have membership forms, and also you can volunteer anytime. Just sign on the sign-up sheet in the back, and I'll send you our emails. But we're always looking for people to help. We do voter registration tables at the high schools, the colleges, at festivals, which is a lot of fun. We've actually, well, no, I'll let her tell that awesome news. But with any more ado, this is our moderator, Linda, and I'll let her take it.
Thank you all. Thanks, Amy. Welcome to this forum for the county commissioners candidates. This is sponsored by the Eastern Upper Peninsula League of Women Voters. All 13 candidates who have filed for county commission were invited to this forum. For various reasons, not all are present this evening. I'm Linda Stetzer. I'm a member of the Eastern Upper Peninsula League of Women Voters. Although I am a resident of Chippewa County, my district commission candidate is running unopposed and is not present this evening. The League of Women Voters does not endorse any candidate or political party. Views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, and the League takes no responsibility. I'm going to give you some ground rules. They're posted in various places, and for those of you who don't really know which district you are in, we had a discussion about this yesterday. There are also maps that were made by our co-president, Megan Kelly. I want all of you to please get all of your applause and enthusiasm out of your system for a few minutes by applauding the one great thing for me, the biggest thing that the League did this year, and that is that we registered over 100 voters. So let's give a round of applause for the 100. The League of Women Voters established the format for this forum. For the audience, please remain silent during the forum. Turn off your cell phones. I even turned mine off. Refrain from making any reaction to anything said by any candidate. It's okay if you respond to me positively. Refrain from applause until the entire event is over. Don't take any photos or record this forum or any part of it at all. Don't display any candidate campaign literature. And I don't see anybody with a t-shirt that says vote for Linda, so good. Candidates, please answer the questions as they are presented to you and do not interrupt another candidate. You will have the opportunity to answer every question. A place has been provided for all campaign literature in the lobby, and please, before the audience leaves, check it out. Questions will be submitted. Hopefully you've all found cards and pencils on your chair or very close. Our page for the evening is Sharon Kennedy, who's in the back, and she will collect your questions on the cards, and she will be giving them to Melissa Schaefer, who is our screener for the evening. Our timekeeper is Megan Kelly, who's sitting in the front with paddles and her stopwatch. Candidates here this evening are John Saruck, who is for District 1, Jim Martin, who is from District 2,
And 2 used to be 1, so. Seriously, they flipped it.
sounds like my algebra teacher. 1 is approximately equal to 2, therefore 1 is equal to 100. We're not supposed to laugh except at what I say. Thank you. Gary McDowell, who is here for District, let me see, District 5. Danny Sarnes, who is here from District 2, and Scott Shackleton, who is here from District 1. The other people who are on the ballot but are not here this evening are Gerald Campbell from District 4, Connor Egan from District 4, Raymond Johnson from District 5, George Kinsella from District 5, Don McLean, District 3, Francis King, District 1, Ted Postula, District 4, and James Traynor, District 4. We will begin with opening statements by Mr. Saruck.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for organizing this evening, give us an opportunity to meet the people meet us. 59 years ago, last March, an immigrant family with a father and a mother, 2 little boys, and a little one on the way landed in Sault Ste. Marie. They came from France, and before France, they were in a displaced persons camp in Germany. That was my father and mother. They're since deceased. This community has done so much for us. It's been so good. I wish I had time earlier to serve, but I've reached a point in my life when my children are raised and my grandkids are coming, and I just retired in February, and I'm in a position now at a time in my life when I can help repay some of the kindness and goodness that's come to my family from this area. And the biggest contribution I think I can make, hopefully tonight we can discuss how we want to bring Chippewa County forward and make it a place business wants to come and relocate into, so that more families can have the opportunity mine had.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
My name is Jim Martin. I moved here to the Sioux about 20 years ago with my wife, Julie, who's a lifetime resident here, as her parents and grandparents are. I went to Appalachian State University in North Carolina. I also have an elementary endorsement from Michigan State, and I have a master's degree from Spring Arbor University. I have taught in North Carolina, Louisiana, Virginia, downstate. I have been around the block a little bit. For as young as I might seem. I've taught, this will be my 30th year teaching. I am in a different place than John is in that I want to make sure that my children have an opportunity to grow old here, that they have a chance to raise their children here, and so that I don't have to get in the car like John talked about his daughters in Maryland. I don't want to have to get in the car to go see my grandchildren. And if with all the tools we have, the technology age, the infrastructure that we have and can build and improve on, if we can get those things moving in the right direction and be proactive and aggressive, then more of our children and grandchildren can stay here.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell.
Thank you, everybody. I want to thank the League of Women's Voters for hosting this tonight. This is democracy at its finest. I wish more people were like you would come out to these forums and see what the candidates' positions are and what they stand for. Then the money in politics would have no bearing at all, because we'd have an informed electorate. A little bit about myself very quickly. I've had a few different careers, and I ran for election 2 years ago, and the voters told me to come back home. So I'm back. And I want to serve my community. I feel I have the experience, the knowledge, the dedication, the integrity to serve you and make sure the county government is efficient as it can be with the resources we have. I don't want to just do what we're mandated to do. I want us to serve our citizens, make sure this county can grow and everybody can prosper. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sarnes.
Hi, I'm Danny Sarnes. I was born and raised here in the Sioux. I think I know everyone in this room almost. It's kind of funny. I was looking through the audience. Anyway, you have to bear with me. I'm really nervous. Never run before. Unlike other people here, it seems like, but I'm running for the first time. never even debated before too, so we're giving this a whirl. It's been an enjoyable practice. I'm hoping to, I like where I live, and I want to keep this as an area that I want to stay in and be able to, so hopefully I can sway a few votes. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Shackleton?
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming, and thanks to the league, and thanks to the other candidates for coming as well. I think I know most people here, and I think you know that I've been very active in our community, both as a legislator and active in local office as well. What you might not know is that mostly what I've done, though, is worked in small business. My first job was working at WSOL Radio, certainly a small business, and now I work at the golf course that my father-in-law rather built from nothing, and that's what I do every day. I'm the head cook and bottle washer, and I do just about everything there. So I know what it's like to deal with government as a small businessman. I deal with people every day who live in our community, and I hear and I feel and I know the things that they're facing, both their successes and their challenges in our community. So I enjoy helping to serve and to represent you into our local government, and I hope to keep doing such.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin our questions. And if anyone has a question that they want to submit, just raise your hand and the pages will pick them up. And we'll start the question with Mr. Martin. Each county is responsible for county roads. What would you do to ensure that roads are kept up to standards?
Well, first off, we have to make sure that we get what we need from Lansing, first and foremost. The tax dollars that we need, people are going to be proactive and go after those tax dollars, make sure that we get what we need. We have to make sure, and I'm sure the county has plenty of equipment and things that they need, but we need to check with the people that actually run the roads and have that communication between the commission and the county commission, the road commission, and the men and women who work for the county, and ask them what they need. If I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything we need to do to make our roads better, but I do know as a teacher that you have to work together to make sure that they have what they need to do their job. They're the experts. It's our job to make sure that they have what they need to keep our roads, A, safe, and B, we're going to have to rebuild them. We're going to have to invest in infrastructure. Our bridges are very old. Our roads are some of the worst in the country. And northern Michigan, as we saw this winter, our roads took a severe beating this winter. And we need to find out from the experts what they need. It's our job as commissioners to make it happen.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell?
We need to work as a county board of commissioners jointly with our county road commission to stress upon our legislators in Lansing that they have to get the job done. They have to fund the roads. This is one of the #1 concerns of the people of this state is our crumbling roads. And they just went home this past week, I think, and did nothing. So we jointly, citizens, county board, road commission, have to continue to stress upon Lansing that they have to adequately fund our roads and get a long-term fix to, solution to this. We just can't keep Band-Aid after Band-Aid. We have to come up with a new way of funding our roads to make sure that we're adequately taken care of up here.
Thank you. Mr. Sarnes?
I have to agree with that. I think that we would have to work with the road commission and also try to get a long-term goal set and a long-term plan set that would enable us to not only just fix it temporarily, but to fix it completely forever. It's awful to say, sorry. I think I'm good. I don't know. Sorry, you guys. Holy man. I'm behind that.
Great.
This guy's doing like, whoa. I'm not as familiar with the roads. I do know we need help with the roads, but I'm not sure how we go about that. I think it's something I would be able to learn as I'm in this office, I'm hoping.
Mr. Shackleton?
Surprisingly enough, the County Road Commission is not actually a part of Chippewa County government. Most people, that comes to a surprise. The Chippewa County Commission appoints board members to the County Road Commission, but they get their funding entirely from other sources, mostly the state of Michigan. So as the county road, or as the county and as the county commission, what we need to do is what we all need to do, is we need to impress Lansing, our legislators, our leaders, that we need money and resources to rebuild roads, to rebuild them in a smart way so they last as long as possible. I was actually the chairman of the transportation budget for several years in Lansing, and I can tell you that, you know, we had limited resources. It was about a $3 billion budget, but it's a big state, and there's a lot of roads, and roads in Michigan are very, very challenging because of our weather. When you get a crack in the road, the water goes down into the crack, and then it freezes, expands, and the crack gets bigger. And it's a huge challenge to build and make roads last in Michigan. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that are very expensive, and it's just going to take more financial resources from Lansing.
Thank you. Mr. Surratt?
For 34 years, I was a distribution engineer for Edison Sioux Electric Company. And then we were purchased, so I transferred over to Cloverland. It was a real eye-opener because most of my work was in the three cities, primarily Mastique, St. Ignace, and Mastique, St. Ignace, Sault Ste. Marie. So I'm more familiar with the urban environment. Overall, our Chippewa County Road Commission, when I started working in the rural areas, I was amazed. The amount of roads they've paved and have done, they've done an admirable job. It's a sad fact that our area is terribly harsh on roads, much more so even than St. Ignace. The southern half of the Upper Peninsula, they don't get the freeze-thaw cycles. I work closely with the engineers on planning and stuff, and you have to let a road settle for a year. We pave too quickly. The other idea I have, I'd like to pursue. We used to have a batch plant in the city of Sault Ste. Marie on the west side of town in the 1960s. We should have so many roads we should be redoing constantly. I would like to see us get into a milling machine, possibly share it with the county. But we should be constantly redoing roads because in this area, it's a big issue. And the bigger issue, one of the points you got to remember is when you come in a community and it looks like Beirut or Lebanon, you know, you're not going to want to do business there. We have to improve our appearance. And your infrastructure, roads especially, they're a sign that you're either a progressive community or one that's falling apart.
Thank you. I'll remind the gentleman, please, to speak up so that the people in the back can actually hear you.
Perhaps they could raise their hand if they can't hear
Yeah,
a sign.
do something like this.
Like this.
Can't
How's
hear.
that? You're not thumbing a ride, you're letting us know, speak up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. As a county commissioner, what steps would you be willing to take to make the county in all aspects more transparent? Televised meetings is the question. And we'll start with Mr. McDowell.
We need to make our meetings as accessible to the public as possible. When I was on the county board, we met in the evening. A lot of this because of our work schedules. Most of the commissioners at that time had full-time jobs. But also it made it more convenient for the public. I don't know if we could try it. There's an increase in participation, something we need to look at. We need to be televised. We need to have do anything that we can do to encourage our citizens to participate in our democracy. And I would be open to any suggestions.
Thank you. Mr. Sarnes?
I agree. I think televising it and in the evenings would also help open up the meetings. And also, too, I think I was looking through the meeting minutes, and it seems like updating the minutes even a little quicker seems like it's a doable fact. You know, it's not undoable. So I think that would also help boost transparency. Oh, and also, too, sorry. I think that we need to, whoops, I'm not feeling that. Sorry. I'm good.
Mr. Shackleton?
Well, transparency of government is a right of the public to be able to know everything that's going on in government. Since I've been on the county commission, we've done a number of things. We've tried different meeting times. It didn't seem to make a lot of difference. But what we have done that really has made a difference is that we are now streaming the meetings live. So people are watching the meetings live, and I heard from some at the most recent meeting we've had that I've heard a lot of people were watching it live. They're also posted on our website so that you can watch them at a later time. We have invited Charter Communications to televise them. I think we've done a better job getting the minutes posted quicker. So I think the county commission over the last few years has taken several steps to try to make our meetings more accessible for more people to watch and view and be connected into what's happening.
Thank you. Mr. Sarup?
The audio or the video sometimes is just of such poor quality that you can't hear or understand what's going on. From being in the utility business, I understand you have a monopoly, but it's called a franchise. And by franchise, that means you give exclusive right to one utility, in this case Charter, to serve your area. The city and the county have to start exercising some control of that charter, saying, hey, if you want to do business here, I don't want to get poor cable service. I don't want to see the same movie over and over and over. And likewise, I want the audio and such to be good, of good quality. As far as getting more people to attend, it's just the nature of people these days. They're busy, they don't really want to get involved, but when they do come, you should answer their questions fully and completely.
Thank you. Mr. Martin?
I think one of the things that we can do, a problem I see at school board meetings is they'll have a question time or a comment time at the beginning, and then that's it, and the board then goes about and does its business. And the public never gets a second chance again, and I would like to see a second opportunity in the county commission meeting for comment, for citizen comment. I also think it would be very important, and maybe we can use the franchise tag if we need to get Charter in there and make sure that they allow us to use or possibly have the commission purchase better equipment so people can hear. I know that my wife's grandparents were glued to that TV every night for a city commission meeting that they had. That was, they were elderly, they were still interested, they still voted, albeit usually absentee, but they were all over the city commission meetings, and there's no reason we can't do that at the county level. My gosh, it's the 21st century. I think they're definitely on the right step when it comes to streaming it and putting it online and getting those minutes online. It certainly helped me find out where my money's going, and that's very important to me.
Thank you. The next question. What are some of the ideas you have to generate employment? And we'll start with Mr. Sarnes.
I believe that we need to, I work in a small business also, and I feel that that's really the backbone of this area, and I'm finding that downtown, we're not receiving as much, we don't have new businesses coming in. And I think that we really should actually actively look out for them, go out everywhere and find businesses and help people start these businesses. I know this isn't just for the county commissioners. I think we can just actually help do this and work with other people in this process. And not only in the city, but also in the rural areas. I think that the small, mom and pop businesses really need to grow up and get bigger every time, more and more. I think that's really where the future is lying. So,
Thank you. Mr. Shackleton?
It's a great question because we're all concerned about jobs, we're all concerned about our community, and there being good jobs available. And the county does play a role in making our community a place that people want to invest and want to do business. The county government and the city government, for that matter, can take one or two approaches when people want to do new investment and people want to develop things. You can either say, I'm going to find a way to stop you, or I'm going to find a way to help you and make this happen. Too often in Michigan, over the last very long period of time, state government, local government has taken the position that whenever anybody wants to do something new, we're going to make you jump through so many hoops that you'll probably give up. That's not the right approach. We need to work with people who are willing to invest and willing to develop new enterprises, create new jobs, and we need to be able to help them, not stop them. Help solve problems, help them get the permits they need, help them be able to create new jobs in our community. So I think that's the role of local government and the role of the county, is to do your job well, make the county an attractive place for those things that you're responsible for. And if everybody else is doing the same thing, we'll have more jobs come. And in fact, it appears right now that this is happening. We're hearing about Menards and we're hearing about a Myers coming in. That's a lot of jobs, folks, between those two major retailers. And hopefully they'll continue and we'll have other opportunities come in too.
Thank you. Mr. Sarup?
My primary function at Edison Sioux Electric Company and later Cloverland was meeting clients, people coming into the area. I don't care if they were building a cabin in Hessel or the Walmart or the Myers, they came to me first. So I quite often knew what was coming and what's going down. We are stagnating. We are not growing. And I don't buy the thing that, well, we're at the end of the line. Marquette's at the end of the line. When I see Gaylord growing and booming, there's a reason. And the primary reason is the atmosphere is not conducive to new business. I've had entrepreneurs tell me, ones that I've befriended, your place, community is a horrible place to do business in. And anybody thinks we're on the right track, take a ride down Ashland Street. The vacancies, my kids, I have a son in Chicago as a mortgage broker and a daughter in Maryland as a school teacher, and they wouldn't come here if it wasn't for family. It's sad. We need to get this community running again, and the best way to do that is government should focus on what its core responsibilities are. Public safety, roads, community health. We're wasting money and resources on recycling and other things. There are private entities that had petitioned to take over that service, and they have been declined.
Thank you. Mr. Martin?
Can you read the question again, please? Sorry.
Was on a threesome here. What are some of the ideas you have to generate employment?
Well, one of the things that we absolutely need to do, where we mentioned Marquette. Marquette and Northern Michigan University have basically made the entire city of Marquette Wi-Fi. And we need to do that. There's so many jobs in the 21st century, good paying jobs, six-figure jobs that can be done at home if you have the proper infrastructure in place. I've seen it because we had a guy across the street who had to come home to take care of his parents and yet worked out of Arizona from his parents' house while he's taking care of them. We need to make that accessible for everyone, every business, every visitor. We need to make sure that we are aggressively pursuing businesses. We need to also aggressively the neighborhood enterprise zones where we can give tax abatements for up to 15 years for companies that will come here and create jobs. We have to make sure, though, that they have good roads to travel on. Like I said, they have the infrastructure, Wi-Fi. This is the 21st century. We can, from this, we need another half dozen precision edges so that our children and grandchildren can stay here and grow here with full-time, year-round, sustainable, good-paying, benefit jobs. And that's what we need to keep our children and grandchildren here. We have the whole world at our fingertips with that St. Mary's River and docks there. We can manufacture anything and ship it anywhere for pennies on the dollar compared to places who have to put it on a railroad or put it on an 18-wheeler. It's that simple. We have a tremendous amount of facilities and resources here, but we have to have a proactive county commission who's going to aggressively go after those opportunities for our children and our grandchildren.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell?
Oh, thank you. It is important our infrastructure always be improved and growing. That includes electric grid, the roads, with our education system working cooperatively. I've seen counties and areas are growing, and one of the really impressed me is regionalism, working together. You have to see the county and the city at odds, or with the Sioux tribe, or with the townships. Those areas don't grow. Where you see positive leadership, the board members working towards a common goal with the other unities of government and other agencies like our university and our electric company right down the road. Those are the areas that are going to grow, working together. And also, I think we need to focus again as county on economic development. I think our economic development corporation has kind of gone away. Go back 20, 30 years ago, was very involved bringing new industries to Chippewa County, and we need to refocus on that, to make that an emphasis. Get the county back involved in economic development, working towards to bring jobs back to our communities. And something that Scott mentioned, and when I was chairman of the county board, like Scott is now, we felt then that, and it sounds like it's happening now, that we're here to help. If you come to Chippewa County, our county agencies are going to work with you, not say we got a stack of rules and regulations this high. We're going to find something in there to slow you down and stop you. What can we do to help you grow and grow your businesses here?
Thank you. Next question. Rural access to both internet and cellular phone service continues to be an issue that holds back our youth and our economic development. What will you do to change this? And we'll begin with Mr. Shackleton.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think first of all, you have to recognize how far we've come. It was only a couple of years ago that I was living in the house that I'm living in right now, saying, good Lord, I hope I can get high-speed internet here someday. And of course, now we do, and now most people do. And most people have a choice between DSL or between cable. But there are still people in our rural areas whose probably most best opportunity is to put in a satellite dish. And that's an expensive process, and it's not a great solution for people in our rural areas. The county did go after a grant that would have run fiber through really every street and every road in Chippewa County. It was a very aggressive, very far-reaching proposal, but we thought we'd give it a try and see if the federal government would fund it. It wasn't awarded, it wasn't funded. So like most places in the state of Michigan that have rural areas, there are people that are going to continue to struggle with it. I'm not sure what the county can do to try to get somebody high-speed internet when they live out in fiber. I think that's one of those things that technology has to catch up to you. And if you really want to have it, you'll have to either make the investment in a satellite dish that provides internet access or some sort of over-the-line, over-wire solution that's available now.
Thank you. Mr. Sorrell.
My utility experience is primarily in an urban setting and environment, so I was just getting up to speed at Cloverland Electric when I retired. It is a sad fact that when you get in rural areas, you're going to give up some things, and one of them is quality of internet and service and that. I don't know that we can do much. I agree with Scott there that they're going to have to wait for technology to catch up, but there's trade-offs living in the rural areas. And I'm not a firm believer that, well, everybody's got to have high-speed internet. That's everybody's. The economy's changing, but it's not everybody's sitting at a computer making a living. We have to have. I used to teach vocational education, Grafton, for 2 years. We've got to get back into voc ed in this country because I see kids coming out of school with debt that they'll never recover. We need to get vocational education back on, and I think there are going to be more jobs in that than there are sitting there in high-speed internet. Unfortunately, limited what we can do there.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
I can remember just snowmobiling a few years back, and we were out in Paradise and standing on top of a 5-foot snowbank holding a phone up over my head, trying to get enough bars to call the babysitter and see how our kids are doing. We can now snowmobile all the way to Paradise and Newberry and all the way around, and we have cell service all the time. So we're heading in the right direction as far as that goes. As far as high-speed internet, that's going to be very, very difficult for government to provide that. That's something that you as an individual are going to have to invest in. I think dial-up can go to virtually every single house in Chippewa County at this point, as it is if you're willing to invest again in the satellite dish. But that is a personal investment and a personal choice. And there are always trade-offs for living in the country versus living in the city. When you're in a rural area, there are some things you have to give up, like a lot of road noise and horns and kids walking down the street yelling at 2 o'clock in the morning. You give those things up when you move to rural areas. However, on the other side of that, you give up on some things like the high-speed internet. We would do, I would think any of us here would do whatever we could to help private business provide those services, but trying to get high-speed internet to everywhere in our county, as rural as it is, would be gargantuan for our county. Could we help towns like Rudyard and Brimley? Possibly. Something we could look at and go from there. But this is something that more or less is in the private sector, and the private sector at this point is doing well. Government is not the answer for everything that we need in this world. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell.
I might come to shock to you, we do have high-speed internet in Red Jug. Really, Pickford. And it's slowly growing out. The phone companies, as they are investing, people are investing, they're expanding. And the new technologies and stuff is coming. But we have such an opportunity for here. We have such a beautiful place to live and work and grow your business and eventually retire in. And that's a critical part of it, is having that infrastructure. So we can get people to come here and invest in our county. And I believe it's coming.
Thank you. Mr. Sarnes?
I have to agree with that, and it's funny, I'm probably the only person in this room, I actually don't have a cellular phone. I know. So I don't know how it goes. I mean, it's sort of funny. I had one for a while, didn't enjoy it, so I got rid of it. But I can imagine, and I actually did know in Bickford they have high speed. My brother lives in Bickford, he's had it for a few years, so I think.
We've had it for years.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's a good thing. And a service, because my friend's staff can now text people like all the way driving in, all the way across the whole state practically. She can make it. So I think that's, it's something we do have, but I also think it's nice that we have aggressively gone after grants. And I think we should keep that up for the fiber. That's a really good push in the direction, especially for downtown businesses. That'd be really, something really nice. So that's what I would think.
Thank you. Next question. What is the role of the county commission on protecting the environment, a key feature that draws tourism and new residents to this area? We'll begin with Mr. Sorrell.
Last time I ran for county commission, I made a pledge that I walked to every door in the neighborhood or in my district. Well, it was a good experience because you got to hear and see firsthand some of the issues. I think the reason Sherman Park is closed due to bad bacteria in the water is because you've got a subdivision, supposedly the best one in the community, on septics. It's unbelievable to me that the county health department hasn't shut it down. The roads are atrocious. And like I told people, you can't fix the roads till you get a sewer in. So that should be our primary focus. You got urban areas that we're not a third world country. Lakeshore subdivision, Bermuda, extend that infrastructure and get up to the 20th century.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
I think the county has to be at the forefront when it comes to the environment. People, by and large, especially tourists, don't come up here to take a look at our streets and our sidewalks. They come here because we have a natural, scenic beauty that can't be found anywhere else. And those of us who are lucky enough to live here sometimes take that for granted. We cannot allow that environment to be spoiled to, as I say, the point of no return. Don't get me wrong, we have to use our resources and we have to help business use those resources because we need those jobs. But we are stewards of the environment and we have to take care of it so that our children and grandchildren can use and enjoy all of those things. I love snowmobiling and the beauty and the quiet. And when you sit and turn the sleds off, nowhere else on earth are you going to get that. Camping, we camp all the time. And we don't have to go far to camp because of the beauty of the trees, the clarity of the waters. It's clean, cold, fresh water, beautiful trees. We have to protect those things. But at the same time, we need jobs. And that's where the county commission comes in, because the county commission has got to strike that balance between jobs and our environment. The environment must be protected, but we've been blessed with a lot of resources, and we need to use those resources to create jobs so that our children and grandchildren can stay here, hopefully indefinitely, because they're renewable resources.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell.
That we are blessed here in the Eastern Upper Peninsula to be surrounded by one of the greatest treasures in the world. Treasure of unmeasurable value, and that's the Great Lakes, that fresh water. We have to do everything we can do to protect that. And that's the quality of life that is going to bring people to northern Michigan. As the rest of the world, the country gets drier and hotter, they're going to be looking at those lakes as who do they belong to? They belong to people in the Great Lakes Basin or the rest of the country. And if we're going to eventually win that fight, which I'm sure is going to end up in the U.S. Supreme Court someday, we have to show that we were good stewards of the water, that we took care of the water. And I think we'll have a strong case to make sure the water stays here. And we have to find that correct balance, of course. We want jobs, we want industry, but the water, our air, and our land is critical to protect that and that balance.
Thank you. Mr. Sarnes.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is it's really the most beautiful area ever through here. we're just lucky, like to walk to work and look over and see the lake or the river outside there is just an amazing fact. And then to get, I think we had that whole area of the waterfront all the way down there and all the way down to Cedarville and Detour and Drummond. You can just see it, but we should be able to access it even maybe a little more. Other than that, I think that we are the forefront of that. Sorry.
Thank you.
I know.
Mr. Chapman?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's okay. Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah. Thank you, Doug.
Would you repeat the question, please?
What is the role of the county commission in protecting the environment, a key feature that draws tourism and new residents to this area?
Thank you. The county does play a limited role in protecting the environment through the health department. The health department has, for instance, partnered with the state of Michigan on trying to find and to track and to do regular surveys of the water quality at our public beach areas. And it has, I think, again, there has been some identification of where some of the contamination has come from. For instance, it's pretty well known that there was a problem with the septic arrangement out at the Brimley State Park. We believe some of the problems have come, and in fact, this takes me back to when I was in the state legislature, dealing with some that's been coming from the Canadian side that is fouling the waters. So the county and the county health department and the county infrastructure, we don't build sewers and we're not in the utility business. But the health department does play a role both in ensuring your safety of in any restaurant you go into because of the environmental health department and in monitoring such things as the water quality. We also need to just be responsible, I think, in our general activities every day to make sure that what we're doing is responsible to the economy. And I don't have much time left, but I did want to also mention that the county really has set the standard for a first-class recycling program that works and certainly does support a clean environment.
Thank you. Next question. What would you expect your immediate project or focus would be? And we'll begin with Mr. Martin.
My immediate focus, the first thing that I want to do as a commissioner, I've had a few talks with local entrepreneurs, and they've talked to me ad nauseum about health benefits and how expensive they are. And one man actually had to drop it for his employees and finally for himself. And here's a man who's created 12 jobs in our community and he can't afford health insurance, but we give full health insurance to part-time employees, i.e. county commissioners. That has got to end. I'm sorry. Fact of the matter is it costs this county tens of thousands of dollars that we could use for infrastructure, that we could use to maybe give tax breaks to businesses that want to come in with neighborhood enterprise zones. Instead, we're providing full-time benefits for part-time employees. And I know a lot of our commissioners work very, very hard, but we're at a crossroads here. And it's one benefit that we cannot afford any longer. That's my first order of business, is to get rid of benefits for county commissioners.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell.
I'd like to see the county grow, and I feel that I can add a positive voice to that. Be somebody who will work with the rest of my commissioners, with the county departments, and with state and federal government to provide the resources that we need in the county here. It's getting tougher with the limited budgets we have to provide the services that we need. And we have to do it as efficiently as possible, but also with county government, kind of regression, but we're actually like an apprentice of state government. We're the part of state government that actually delivers the services to the individuals of this county. And I want to make sure that we deliver those services to you to the best of our capacity with the limited resources that we have.
Mr. Sarnes.
I also think as a commissioner, I would like to see just to be able to work more like with also the city government and the tribal government also. That I think that it can be a united team and we can all work together and become an equal front. And also just to go forward with the community as, sorry.
You done?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Shackleton?
I thought he was doing great. I don't know.
Oh, I'm way better in my head.
You didn't start timing yet, did you?
Yeah.
Let me just talk for a second about what county government does. A lot of times you might look at the courthouse and you think, God, what do they even do? You have to remember that what county government does is some major functions in our community. The county runs the courts. The county runs the prosecuting attorney's office, the public defender's office, the health department, the sheriff's department. You know, the county's responsible for all those deputies on the road at night that are out there helping people. We run the jail. We run important functions through the clerk's office and others. I mean, those are just a few of the functions. The county commission's job, and this has always been my goal, is to get the county commission to work together, forget about who's a Democrat, forget about who's a Republican, work towards solving problems. Try to work together, try not to one-up yourself and get your name in the newspaper, but try to work together just as a community body providing services to the community we represent. So my goal has always been is to try to get the county commission in its proper role of not running the county departments, because we have very qualified elected officials who are running their departments, but to help those department heads have the resources they need to be successful and to set the positive tone to providing good, efficient services to our community.
Mr. Surratt?
We're at a crossroads. Do we stay on the path we're on and watch the city more close over business signs coming up? Government should not be in the business of creating jobs, picking winners and losers. But we should create an atmosphere that people want to come in and build in. I think we've all gone to a restaurant, had a bad meal, and said, I'm never going back to that place. For 30 years, I've worked with everybody from big box developers to people with motels and restaurants, and I've heard the same litany of praise, or the same comments. Your area is a tough place to do business in. Our taxes are high, our utility rates are high. Get the government out of the way, and I think you're going to be shocked how we'll flourish. I made a good friend, Don Schoppacher, from Mackinac City. Our kids are about the same ages growing up in that. He builds motels all over the United States. Right after he got the Days Inn done here, he sold it. And periodically he'll call and say, what's going on, tell me what's going on. We have a chance in this election to put the word out, hey, we're doing things different, we're open for business. We have the resources, we have the people, we have to get government out of the way.
Thank you. Next question. Geographically, this is a big county, larger than the state of Rhode Island. While I understand that currently a large share of our county's population is in the Sioux, but I think that can change if given the proper support. What is your view on spreading the board's focus outside of Sault Ste. Marie? And we'll begin with Mr. McDowell.
I'm probably the only one in this room who's outside of Sault Ste. Marie, maybe, but I don't, where the premise of that question is, I don't agree with it. I think we need to work cooperatively. Red Jar Township and Sault Ste. Marie and everybody else. And the hope we'll all grow. Sioux will grow, Red Jar will grow, and that's the focus we have to have. I'm tired of this, us against them, out county against the city. As Scott mentioned, Democrats against Republicans. It's not getting us anywhere. It hasn't got us anywhere. And I would work to bring us together, to work cooperatively to solve our issues.
Thank you. Mr. Sarnes.
I agree with that also. It's funny, I was reading a bunch of notes prior to this, so I'm actually not if I'm looking at it at home, but 16 townships they have in this county, which is a lot of townships. And I think that we should be able to work with all 16 of them in the town and outside, outside of the city limits to work and build a future for this community, like, I think, why not? You know, why are we, well, I'm not doing it again, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not like this normally, but it's just like I blanked right out.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mr. Shackleton?
Thanks, God.
I guess basically I have to say that I don't really agree with the premise of the question either. If the premise of the question is that somehow the county spends more time and resources on the city than it does on the out county, I just don't think that's true. In fact, I think a lot of people inside the city would feel the opposite. They would feel like the county puts most of its resources on the out county and the city doesn't get a fair shake. And there are probably instances that you could point to. For instance, the sheriff's department spends most of its resources patrolling and taking care of the out county. Why? Because we have police agencies here that are taking care of the city. So I don't really necessarily agree with the premise of it, but I do agree that we always have to make sure, and I would agree with what I've heard earlier, that the county has to move forward in a positive way and provide services to the entire county, all the way from Paradise to Detour and Drummond Island, because it is a huge geographic county, and it's very expensive to do any service over such a large geographic area. But our courts and our services that we provide, I don't think they favor the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and I think that is supported by the fact that on a county commission of 5, you only have 2 commissioners that come from the city.
Thank you. Mr. Surratt?
The key is working with the local units of government. They're elected township supervisors. And I worked with them closely when I was in the utility business. They needed street lighting, I developed a plan. So we have to listen closely to their needs. They are elected by people, they know what they need in their districts. One idea kicked around is, why does community action have exclusive right to Meals on Wheels? You've got Pete Donnelly and these little restaurants out in rural areas that suffer in the winter. They struggle to keep the doors open. Why don't they get a chance to make the meals there? They get the free food from the federal government. You get a better quality product, helps him keep in business. There's a lot of things we can do, but main thing is have a working relationship like I do with Rich Phillips out at Superior Township, Kathy Gaylor and Rudyard. Those are people that are elected and they tell you what they need in their area.
Thank you. Mr. Martin?
I also am going to disagree with the premise, although Mr. Shackleton took my thunder with that. If that were the case, then the county commissioners would outvote the city commissioners 3-2. I think there is a great feeling of a spirit of working together in the commission. The county commission meetings that I've been to have been very well run. If you look at most of the votes that they take, very well thought out, usually 4-1, 5-0. I really think the county commission is united for the good of Chippewa County, whether you live in the city or the country. I don't think any of the commissioners really feel that they are representing just the city, at least in districts 1 and 2. I never got that feeling from either Mr. Shackleton or Mr. Cooper, that they were just looking out for the interests of the city. I think, though, it is very important, though, for our commission to have that sense of unity and go forward and work with the tribe and work with the townships, and we have, if we're all on the same page and all moving forward together. But I think, probably one of very few people who I have a relationship with the tribe. I have a relationship with the public schools here. I have a relationship with the college. And by adding to that, the relationship with the county here. I think we can all work forward together and work together to make sure that no part of Chippewa County is left behind, all the way from Paradise all the way down to Detour and Drummond Island.
Thank you. Next question. What is your position with regard to the 2 tribes located within the county? CCC, which I assume is Chippewa County Commission, recently sued the tribe over 2%. What is your position over the recent legal action? And we will start with Mr. Sarnes.
Hi, I actually kind of grew up on the reservation in town. I have many friends on there, and I have a working relationship with many people on the board today yet, as friends and acquaintances, and I just think that we should work with them. I didn't understand that when that lawsuit was placed even. I didn't really understand the thought premise behind it. I now understand it, but I just think that it was kind of a error, and I can see why the courts ruled as they did. And I really think that we can work with that. That's something that's easily done. I don't see why it would not be, why it is a problem. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarnes. Mr. Shackleton.
The county and the Sioux tribe had a disagreement over the 2% disbursements, longstanding. And, I hesitate to even call it a suing, because what the county actually did was ask the judge to review what was being done and tell us if it's right or not, and if it's not right, please tell them to do it right in the future. The tribe came to the county and said, look, why don't you withdraw your lawsuit, and we'll work with you in good faith in solving this. I went to the county commission as a whole and reported that they were willing to work with us in good faith in solving the problem, and we did withdraw the lawsuit. So we have pledged and have had communications with the tribe since then that are much more in a positive direction of solving that problem and working together for the future. Because I do agree, we need to work together with both the Sioux tribe, the Bay Mills tribe, the townships, everybody. We all want to work together. But every once in a while, you hit a little friction that you need some help solving the problem. But in this case, they said, take it away and we'll work with you in good faith. County said, okay, we will, and we will work with you in good faith. That continues to progress, and I'm positive it's going to be fine. Because I think you've got people who care about the community, both in the county and in the tribe, that want to solve this problem, solve the issue, work together going forward.
Thank you. Mr. Surratt.
I have a brother, Michael, that left Sault Ste. Marie right after Lake State. Couldn't all stay here and get jobs. He went to work for Martin Marietta as an aerospace engineer, then went into energy development. Now, surprisingly, in the last 10 years, he's been in gaming development all over the United States. He's currently working with the tribe, trying to get the Romulus Casino underway. And I asked him a little bit what's going on. He said, a lot of the problem is the gaming compact with the state of Michigan has expired. They don't have to give us any money, but they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart right now. The Native American community there's been too much animosity. We need to work together. And Rich Phillips is a good friend of mine. Like I said, at Superior Township, and John Lufkins and I talked. One of the ideas I had, well, it's unrelated, but I'm a history buff and I love reading history. Last soldier probably killed in World War I is buried up on the cemetery in Brimley. And I'd like to push to get a statue erected of him. It's a LeBlanc boy. His parents didn't get the telegram till like 6 weeks later. And I've been talking to Rich Phillips and other people in the state that we need to get a memorial park built at the west end of M221 at the bridge. And recognize, I think people stop and say, gee, that's pretty interesting, who is that? But a piece of history that we don't even realize. But they have been a great contribution to the area, and the state needs to get off their duff and get things in order.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
I think it is vitally important that we have a good working relationship with the two tribal entities, both Bay Mills and the Sioux tribe. And we have to understand that the Sioux tribe is the largest employer in Chippewa County and the largest landowner. We have to work together with them. The 2% money is, as he said, basically they don't have to, but they do. And I believe that it was just a misunderstanding. And all of us who have brothers and sisters know that sometimes in a family there's a spat and there's a lack of communication. And things are done, words are said that maybe it shouldn't have happened. But it sounds like Mr. Shackleton and the county commission has resolved that problem, and they're back communicating and again working towards the same common goal, which is the good of the citizens of Chippewa County, as both entities should. And again, that's where it's very important, and I do have a good working relationship with the Sioux tribe. I know with my blonde hair and blue eyes, it doesn't look like it, but I am a member of the Sioux tribe. I look like my English Dutch mother instead of my Native American father, as some of you probably look more like one parent than you do the other. As such, I have a lot more knowledge of the tribe, its workings, and know many members on the board, and have taught or coached most of their kids over the last 20 years.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell?
We need to continue to work with the tribe for the betterment of the general public. When I was on the county board, we had several projects with both tribes. The dialysis center, the War Memorial, joint venture with the Sioux tribe. The urgent care clinic, joint venture with the tribe. Some of our youth programs, some of our probate court programs for our youth at risk. And with Bay Mills, we funded the gas line that goes into Brimley. That was 2% money that funded that, and it benefited everybody, Brimley and Bay Mills. And also our EMS on the western part of the county. Bay Mills has paramedic level, and they back up our volunteer departments over there. And that was 2% money that funds that. So we need to continue in that vein. We need to continue to work together for what's good for every citizen of Chippewa County, Native American and non-Native American.
Thank you. This will be our last question, and then we'll be going into closing statements. At the last county commission meeting, there were accusations by the sheriff of corruption by a sitting commissioner. As a citizen of Chippewa County, if there is corruption, we are warranted to know what it is and isn't. And if it is prosecutable, why isn't it? You want me to read that again? We're going to start with Mr. Shackleton.
How come me all the time? Well, I wouldn't, again, if you didn't see it, I'm sure nobody really knows what happened in this room, perhaps what happened. The sheriff has had an issue with a commissioner, and he, I guess he just kind of felt that his perception was he had enough, and he got up and chose to speak. He had the right to do that, and I think it was probably the appropriate forum for him to get up under public comment at a county commission meeting. Whether there was corruption or not, I think is a pretty strong word. That probably implies breaking laws and that sort of thing. And I don't really have any knowledge to whether there's any laws being broken or any corruption. But I do know that it's been a rocky relationship between the commissioner and the sheriff. And I think the sheriff felt that he wanted to speak out, and he certainly did.
Thank you. Mr. Sirach.
I think I saw that YouTube video, and I think we have a seriously dysfunctional county commission. That was sad, what went on. And if I was in a motel room here, a business owner or someone looking to do business here, I think, do I want to get involved in this community? We need new leadership. We need to start with new people and a new direction. We can't stay on the path we're on. We have everything we need in this community. The resources, the people, the hardworking people. It's just get the government out of the way. Make it a place someone wants to come and do business, because I've worked with them for 30 years and I hear the same litany over and over. You got to get your house in order. Either that or you can change the name from Maple and Court to Anarchy and Chaos, because that's what we have right now.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
I believe the sheriff has the right to, during public comment, air his concerns. I firmly believe, though, that had anything illegal been done, charges should be filed and would have been filed, and let the courts do their job. We have a fine court system here. They can do their job. Were things done illegally? I don't know. Were some things done that were unethical? I don't know. Plain and simple. That's why we hired a sheriff and we have a district attorney. We have some great people, and if laws were broken, then I fully expect that they will pursue whatever legal remedy they need to do. If something was done unethically, then I would hope that it would end up in the evening news or other places, And then come election day, that commissioner will have their day in court, so to speak, if it's unethical as opposed to illegal. But I think that we run the risk here of focusing too much on the negative, and we need to stop doing that. We need to focus on the good things that have happened in Chippewa County, the good things we have, the resources, the people, the good people we have working with us and for us in Chippewa County. And we need to take those things, and those are the things that we need to talk about and focus on and extend the positive of Chippewa County. And there's way more positive here than there is negative. There is, I promise you, having taught outside of New Orleans and outside of DC, you ain't seen corruption in Chippewa County like DC and in New Orleans, I promise you. But that's bottom line. Let the legal system work and do its job. We have fine people who take care of it if something illegal is done.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell?
There is always possibility of looking into forming an ethics committee where a citizen or elected official would have a place to go to. Maybe you wouldn't have to use public comment. Maybe you'll feel free to bring forth your allegations or feelings of ethics being violated. To set it up would be something I'd take a look at. If people would teach ethics, clerical, but somebody outside of our realm here, outside of elected people and political people. So that somebody feels that something is not right, something going on is unethical or criminal, instead you feel like you have to go through elected people, they could go to this committee, and this committee could come up with their recommendations.
Mr. Sines?
I think that that's true, and I agree with Scott. And also, too, Jim said earlier, I think sometimes there's spats. Like it's like a neighborhood and so you'll have spats. It almost seemed more like a spat to me than it was unethical, But I do agree that you could look into it that way as with a committee. But I thought that it was just more of a kind of a spat that happened on the thing. But I'm glad they did it in public. I thought that was actually a good thing. Instead of somewhere hidden away where you were never aware of it. At least it happened where you could see it happening. So that was what I thought.
Thank you. I'm sorry we can't get to all of the questions that were asked, but we do have a time limit here. And I'm going to move right now into the closing statements, and we will begin with Mr. Shackleton.
Thank you. And again, thanks for everybody coming, and thanks for the great questions tonight. 20-some years ago when Karen and I got married, she was living in Ann Arbor. We had a choice to make. Do I move to Ann Arbor or she move to the Sioux? She said, by all means, I want to move back to the Sioux, and she did. And this is where we live, and this is where we raise our boys, two fine young men. And we're very happy to be able to live in this community. We've had opportunities in the past to move, and I left the legislature. I could have stayed in Lansing, we could have moved there, but we want to live here. This is one of the best places in the country to live, in my opinion. It's beautiful, and it is wonderful, friendly people. I love the community. I think in our community and in our county, what we need are people who are not concerned about one-upmanship, are not concerned about party, but are bringing to the table common sense and a positive attitude towards the future. I like to work with people. I like to solve problems. I always say, I'd hold grudges, except I don't have a very good memory, But I don't hold grudges because I'm not interested in pettiness. I want our county commission to do a good job and to fulfill its role in our community to its maximum potential. My major focus is first with my family, and secondly on those commitments I've made to my community. And this is a commitment and an honor that I've had for many years, is to represent you, to represent my community in different roles. I never take it for granted. I never take a single person or a single vote for granted. I always appreciate it, and I am honored, and I hope to have your support coming up in August.
Thank you. Mr. Sines, 2 minutes.
Hi. Thank you guys. Forgive me for tonight. I have never done this before. I feel like I'm getting the hang of it now that we're done. Because then I'll be done even sooner. I love this area too. I cannot express enough how much I love it. And I feel that there's so much opportunity here and so much growth availability that we can just go forward. And I think that we can work all throughout this area with the tribal community and with our townships and the local outlying areas. Please just let me go with this. I am so sorry too tonight. I thought, oh, this won't be that hard. Practice at home a little bit. Yeah, thanks a lot for putting up with this tonight.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell, 2 minutes.
I want to thank everybody for coming out and giving me this opportunity. Fellow candidates, it's only 5 of us out of 13. It's probably good because I don't know how long we would be here. But I'm just starting a new chapter in my life, and I'm back home all the time, and I want to serve this county again. I feel I have so much to offer. I have the experience, I have the knowledge, the commitment, and the integrity to do this job responsibly. Working together with everybody, every agency and government, fellow commissioners, and with the tribe, and to grow this county, to grow in a positive way, to create those jobs we want for our children, protect our environment, to make sure the county government is run efficiently, and working with our citizens. Like I said before, when it comes down to layers of government, this is the layer that actually, in the end, delivers the services to the citizens of this county. And I want to be part of that, and I humbly ask you for your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
Again, I'd like to also thank the league and thank all of you for showing up, because time is the greatest gift that we can give, because it's the one thing that you can't ever get back. So I appreciate you taking your time. I wish my wife of 22, maybe 23 years here could be here. She just had shoulder surgery, so she's at home being taken care of actually by my 14-year-old. I do want you to understand that this is the county where I'm going to be buried. This is where I want to spend the rest of my life. And I want it to be a place, though, where my children and grandchildren can be. I've been up north my whole life, even though I grew up downstate, and we traveled extensively and taught and lived in other places. And this is where we chose to live. This is where we chose to raise our children. We took pay cuts to come here, substantial ones. There's so much that is more important than money. And we have a wonderful thing here in Chippewa County. We've got great people who give you the shirts off their back. We have people who have great ideas, and we need to gather all those great ideas and gather all those great people and use everybody's resources to make this a better place. I'm one that believes in working together. Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. I got a lot of grief in my run for state house, which was my only debate, because I told people, yeah, I voted for Scott Shackleton. And you know what? He helped us with our trail system behind there, the built-in trails, and helped us go through the DEQ and all the regulations and all the red tape and all that garbage, because he didn't care what party I was from. And I voted for him, and I don't have a problem with that at all. Some people in my party do. I respect the fact that he is given so much time. Gary got me into this mess, so he's probably the one that I'm most upset with, because I was never involved in politics. I've never run before. But we have to invest in our roads and our infrastructure. We have to be proactive. We have to go get jobs so that my children, your grandchildren can live here, and we can make Chippewa County even better now than it is. My mom taught me a long, long time ago, always leave something better than you found it. And that's what we have to do as Chippewa County Commissioners, make Chippewa County better.
Thank you. And Mr. Soraka.
Last February, I had a real decision. In fact, I started contemplating it around Christmas time. I had to decide if I wanted to walk away from a job that paid a substantial amount of money to run for a board at the co-op. I had to resign in order to run for it. Both brothers who were very smart, my kids, Dad, don't do it. It's not worth it. I feel I owe a debt to this country and this community. I never served in the armed forces. So I'm looking at, it's my way of saying, okay, I could have stayed there 2 more years till I got to Social Security, but no, or 3 years. But I said, no, it's time to, I think we're at a point we have a real opportunity to change things. And all we have to do is ask ourselves, are we really satisfied? Do we think we are all we can be? This is the best we can do? We know what we've done over the last 10 years. I think we need to change. I think everybody knows that. We've got a golden opportunity this year. That's all I need.
Thank you. I want to thank the team that I had to work with, the League of Women Voters, Melissa Schaefer-Camp O'Connor, Megan Kelly, Sharon Kennedy, and Amy Hierstead for helping with all of the things that we had to put together this. And I want to thank all of you in the audience for coming this evening and for putting up with my, we're practicing, we'll be on the national pretty soon. And I now invite everyone in the audience to show your appreciation for the candidates and for this forum by whatever sign you want.
May I add one more thing, if I don't? Everyone mentioned their partner. I have a wonderful partner named Jeremy, who's I've been with for 5 years. So I just wanted to make sure, if I don't mention them, I'm going to get in trouble. Everyone else is getting mentioned, I thought, I don't know, I'll be in trouble.
Show your
Sorry.